Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about recommendation settings. First off, how to get there. So you have two ways to get there. So one being if you're running autos, you can go through here at recommendation settings. But if you're not running any runs, it's a little trickier. You have to go to gear, click on a piece, go to sell, and then you can click on recommendation settings here on the bottom. Yeah. So first off, we'll go on the three-piece sets. These are pretty much, I think I have five. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, I got five basic rules. We'll kind of go through each one of them, why I'm setting things up, where you can change it, and so on. So first off, all my rules, I have three selected attributes. I would consider this a late game. Um, so if you're more of a mid game, you can go to two selected attributes. Your gear pieces might be a little less powerful for sure, but I think as far as mid game, that's kind of where you're looking at. Like as far as DPS, you're generally looking for like attack, crit rate, crit damage, or attack, crit rate, attack speed, or attack any of those other ones. You always want to see crit rate like on the DPS, but you could get away with running only two subs. I would say if you're mid game, but once you start heading towards that late game area, you almost always want to be looking for three or more. So yeah, that's like the one thing. If you guys are using my code, I'll post it at the end. Uh, I would definitely go to two selected attributes rather than three. So first off, we have tank gear. So we go through sets. This is the only four sets I'm ever gonna really run tanks in. You could definitely consider Glacier. It's not a bad option, but late game, I don't ever run this. You could also consider throwing Invig in this as well, but it's something I don't really do too often. I think I have a few sets right now as is of the Invig, and I don't really use them. Like Morale, I occasionally use like in Arena. I also use them in Simra for my Torador, so that's like where I'm really using Morale at. But for the most part, it's going to be Tempered Will, Unshaken Will, or Guardian. They're just by far the best three sets for tanks. There's no question about it. Tempered Will being number one for sure. But yeah, generally these are like the two sets I have. I think I might have one set of Unshaken Will at the set at the moment, but generally these are the two I'm looking for. As far as stats go, you're looking for HP percent or defense percent. 99% of the time I'm looking for HP percent, but I put the defense percent in there just in case that there might be some off pieces, especially with these tier 3 sets like Tempered Will or Unshaken Will where I would actually use them even though they were defense percent. But yeah, like 99% of the time I'm running 3 HP main stats for my tanks. Like I said, unless it's probably one of those two sets. As far as secondary attributes go, what do I have in there? So obviously I'm looking for more survivability with whether it be the defense percent, HP percent, like whichever mains I'm getting. I want the opposite one in there for sure. Like 100%, like if I'm getting an HP percent main, I want to have a defense percent main as a sub. Or if I get a defense percent main, I want to have an HP percent main. Or if I get a defense percent main, I want to have an HP percent sub. Like every time. And then attack speed, you could definitely unselect this one. It's more so for like the corridors or anyone that's doing like stun effects like Trusk or something. That's where I like to have the attack speed going. Or even like if I'm building like a bomb tank, the attack speed's great there too. But that is one that can be done undone. Same with Rage Regen. It's just another one of those stats where I like to have it in there. Get that ult up a little bit quicker. It's not necessary by any means, but if I'm looking for three stats, I want to have it at least be some of these. I never really look for attack on my tank gear. Generally, like if you're building one of those tanks and you just try to force a little bit of attack out, you're not going to be doing much damage as is. So I would much rather have like a speed or a rage regen in there for sure. So that's the tanks. Next we go into supports. Supports are really wonky in this one. One thing I don't like about this is you can't select. I would like to see this in the future where like a set must have this. Like anytime I'm looking for any support things, I want to see H or Rage Regen and attack speed in both my subs. Like 99% of my builds for supports have both those in there. I think it's just crucial for building supports. I wish we could have like stats must obtain these substats for them to be upvoted, but maybe something in the future. So as far as support sets go, we got 5 of them. I threw Unshaken Will in here just in case because I don't think it's a bad set. Getting that HP healing on yourself is not bad at all. But Mana Spring is another one that can be taken out for sure. It's not one I really ever build, but I think mid to early game it's decent. Late game you don't really see it too often. That's one that could be unchecked for sure. But as far as the four sets or the major sets go, Asclepius, because that turns it into Invigoration. Those are like the main two that I end up using for most of my supports. Morale's a new candidate, and then like I said, I threw Unshaken Will just because I think it's decent. It's definitely less team oriented, but if you're looking for just pure survivability or anything, I think that's a great option. Um, yeah, so these are the main sets I'm looking for supports. Yeah, there's none other ones I would ever use in here. Guardian could be another one that could be considered, but it's one of those ones I never really use either. Um, it's probably up there with like the Unshaken Will, honestly, as far as the survivability. So that's definitely one that could be checked. And then as far as mains go, same thing. How I was talking about. So if I'm building attack, healing, support, so um, let's say Lily, for example. I'm going to have an attack main on the ring. I'm going to have an attack percent main on the bangle. And then 99.9% of the time, I'm going to have attack speed on the amulet. That's just how I build all my supports. Vice versa, if I'm building like a vortex for HP, it's going to be HP bangle, HP ring, attack speed, amulet. Um, Is it correct for all of them? Definitely not necessary. Like if you get like HP like on all three and you get some really high attack speed rolls on all three, I would throw that on in a heartbeat. But generally, you're just getting some average rolls. You're gonna get some attack speed on the weapon generally as well. So you might be clocking out like at 300, 350 speed. I would rather be at like the 400s, 500s. It's a little bit overkill, but especially once you hit that late game, I think it's necessary. Like you see some of my like my hollow, for instance, I think is going at like 600 and something speed, and she's great like that. She's just machine gun throwing out heals left and right. It's just trying to get that attack interval as low as possible, especially for like if you're building like a guild boss hollow or something. It's ideal to have like some crazy speed like that. As far as second attributes go, this is where it gets a little wonky. Um, so like if you're building an attack percent healer, I want to see HP percent a lot of times on my subs. So I have so many selected in here that it can for sure be getting a little wonky, and then we'll go over these. So like attack based healer, I want to see HP percent. We could definitely unselect these, but then it's like okay, I have to hit 3 of these guaranteed. So I might not. Some decent pieces might not show up. That's why I wanted to select these as well. Um, is it correct? I don't know. We're still messing with the filter. Like I'm still gonna go through the first few days and see like what's not getting thumbs up. Because there could be some pieces in there that are missing for sure still. You can't, this filter is never going to be perfect. So, like I said, the first few days I would check and see if you're missing any good pieces that you might want to be keeping for your account. But I think I hit the majority of the trying to keep it as clean as possible. So, like I said, if I'm going for an attack percent support, I want to get obviously the attack percent main. And then after that, I'm looking for pretty much every support I build, I want to have the attack speed, ragers, and substats. And then after that, I'm looking for either HP, flat attack, the healing effect. Any of those are great. Just more survivability on them is all the better, especially for like the Simra. A lot of the times I'm just looking for gear for codex people. Like if I'm looking for some support gear. I'm looking for high HP on a lot of them because for a while people were running the HP percent mains. I think they're slowly getting away from that now and they're looking for the better gear with the HP percent subs. So definitely something to look at for those. Like I said, you might have some not great pieces. Like say you get an attack percent main, but you also get attack, HP percent, and defense percent. I wouldn't keep that piece personally. Um, like I said, I'm looking for attack speed and rage regen in almost every piece that I'm keeping for supports at this point. So keep that in mind when you're using that role. So we went through tank gear already. Next, we have Inspiration and Vic. So this is another one of those random ones I added in there. This is for your Dolores, your Constance. Um, Also, if you have her Desomi, like generally, anytime I run Desomi, she just gets flopped into my Dolores gear because it works perfect for her. So obviously, Invigoration is the set I'm looking for, and then attack percent mains, and then they must have these two. So this is why I kept this rule in here. I'm always looking for Dolores and constant upgrades. You'll see it in the weapons as well. I made a rule for them in there as well. Uh, I think you should always be looking for upgrades, especially for those two, because they are probably the most two vital champs on your account. And getting them in the absolute best gear possible is great, especially like once you're a late game. Like in my main account, I have I think 90 million gold. Gold doesn't become an issue, so rolling gear all the time. Just I'm more so looking for gear to roll like during the events because I just don't have enough now because I'm so picky with my gear at that point. So yeah, I would definitely keep this in there. I would definitely be on the lookout for constant upgrades for those champs. So that's that one. HP defense percent DPS. So this one, it could be changed up a little bit. Uh, you could even go in Tempered Will and Unshaken Will. This is more like I don't even know who this exactly for. I was like gone for a while. I was looking for like Infernal Roar gear and um Gluttony for a while. I was looking for Soulbound gear. It's very niche. You could definitely not have this rule in there. You could delete it for sure. There's only a few champs in the game that you really need to build out for DPS like this, and none of them deal that much DPS. Like getting a good Soulbound set on Gluttony, or even like shit, a good Mana Spring set on him is fine, and you could pretty much delete at that point. But occasionally, I'm still looking for upgrades. This is possible more so for future proofing as well, because I think in the future we will definitely see some more HP defense percent DPS coming in, and they might actually do some damage. So if that ever happens, I want to have some gear around for them. Uh, so the T1 sets I kept in are all going to be transferable sets into the T2s. That's why those are in there, and then I just selected these two just in case. You're looking for HP defense percent, you probably want tanky sets. So that's why I selected the Tempered Will and Guardian, or Tempered Will and Unshaken Will. You could possibly select Guardian, but already this is so niche as it is. So generally, like I said, HP defense percent on the mains, and then you're looking for those as subs as well. Very straightforward. Um, like I said, if you're someone that's not really worried about like the Gons or building a great gluttony, don't worry about this set. It's more so, like I said, future proofing in case we do get something in the future. And then, like for me, I was deleting HP and defense percents for the longest time, and then all of a sudden I got gone, and I had absolutely nothing for him. And it took me a long time to get his gear going. So that's exactly what that is. Attack focus sets. Okay, so this is just your main DPS ones. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about this. You'll see I have like the Hawkeye, the Wisdom. Well, Wisdom's great. So the Hawkeye, Doom, Sticks, Fracture. I'd still somewhat use Curse. I kind of throw on my faction champs. Glacier is one that could be unselected. Fatality, Sticks, Doom. Like ideally, I would unselect all the like that. I would keep it like this. This is late game. I would consider. Fracture, you could even consider, and Curse as well. But generally, I use those on like faction champs and stuff just so I don't have to switch gear around. But for Mid game, I would probably keep those on. But yeah, like I said, once you get into late game, you're not going to be really using any of those sets pretty much ever. So that's why those are selected. As far as mains go, we got 4 of them. Don't actually need attack speed. I don't use them. I don't think attack speed mains are good. Um, unless I'm getting like ancients. That's the only really attack speed ones I keep. Other than that, I don't think you should use those as mains, especially once you start getting ancients. You're gonna almost always have like 300 to 400 speed around. Now, as far as I get an attack percent main, I 100% want to see crit rate every time. If I don't get that, it's gone. So if you're getting attacks, or attack speed, and rage regen, or attack speed, crit damage, toss it. You want to have crit rate on there, 100%. That was like another thing we were talking about with the attack speed and the rage regen on the supports. I would like to be able to must have this substat. So generally, anytime I'm looking for attack percent mains, I want to see crit rate. Crit damage is another great one to have there, and then attack speed, and then any other bonus filler with the rage regen or attack is great. But those are like the 3 mains I'm generally looking for when I'm getting attack percent mains, and then crit damage is the complete same. It's I want to see attack percent, crit rate, and then like attack speed. That's what I'm looking for on any DPS I'm keeping. Razor Gen is definitely not necessary, but it's one of those substats that you don't hate to see when they come up. Um, but generally, if you can get like the quad, the perfection with the crit rate, crit damage, attack speed, and attack, that's what you're generally looking for. Next, we have supports. We already went over sports. We went over tank. We went over inspire. Okay, so that's it for the 3-piece sets. So like I said, if you are mid game, you could definitely go to require 2 selected of the attributes. You still will like I said, you still will have to go through these like no matter what. There's no way you could select like the required substats and like all the pieces just be perfect. It's just not going to happen. This is just a general outline of it makes your filtering a little bit clearer. Okay, so 2-piece set. Like I said earlier, this is my Invig inspiration. Um, so on this, it gets a little wonky just because the weapon is always going to be attack main. You can never get the substat, so you have to go 1 here. So you will always have to still check your chest piece to make sure it's attack percent, because that's the only way I'm going to run those on Dolores Constance or the Somi. So it will have to have both of those on the chest piece, even though it says it's going to 1-up, even if it's just 1 attribute. That's the only way to really set this. You don't even have to really have this in there. It's just, it's uh, another thumbs up you can look for. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having it like this, just so I don't have to go through all like the very bottom where all my warlord usually is. This was just a way to filter out really quick and put them at the top. HP percent healer. So sets I'm looking for: Light's Grace, Life Force, Immortal Warrior, Whirlwind, and Salvation. Uh, obviously, you have your 2 default mains. What I'm looking for there. So anytime I'm building HP, I'm always looking for, like I said, this one's different though because it's the weapons. So weapons you can't get rage regen on unless they're ancient. So like weapons, you're almost gonna always be looking for like an HP healer. You're gonna want to see HP percent, attack speed, and then either like healing effect or defense percent bonus. That's how I'm gonna build my HP percent healers almost all the time. Um, oh, you can get flat HP on the weapons as well. Chest piece. If you're looking for the correct ones, it's gonna be HP percent, and healing effect are going to be like the only two substats you could really get on a non-ancient piece. Other than that, it's going to be like you're going to be looking for other survivability stats like defense, and you could consider checking flat defense, but that makes the weapons really wonky. That's why I kept that unchecked. So you probably want to actually put that filter on just in case, because otherwise you're never gonna get really any chess piece to save, because it's gonna be very rare that you're gonna find HP percent, healing effect, and defense percent on all your chess piece that are usable for an HP percent healer. Dolores Con, defense, HP, DPS, Immortal Warrior, Life Force, obviously your same two substats, and then I just selected all the survivability and all the crit rate, crit damage, attack speeds. Very simple. Very easy to set up. Like I said, this is another rule that you could delete if you're not really worried about those. It might just clutter your inventory more than anything, so definitely one you could knock out. Oh yeah, you can go to manage plan and delete. So I'm at 11 out of 20 rules. Tank weapons, Mortal Warrior, Life Force, only way I'm ever going to build tanks. Um, you might be able to consider Light's Grace, but it's not something I would do. I would never do Salvation either. Uh, Same thing, survivability, Rager if you can find on the Ancients. Healing effect, we don't need actually. Get that out of there. So yeah, just survivability. HP healer. Uh, Complete opposite of the attack healer. Same sets. Just got HP survivability in this one as well. Dolores Con, we went over. Defense, HP, DPS. Attack healer, we went over. And then the finally is your DPS. The only 5 sets I'm going to use for DPS. Mid to late game, you can kind of consider any ancients that you get your crit rate, but generally once you're hitting late game, you want to fill out in these sets. Whirlwind is not one I really typically use either. I don't think it's great. I would rather just much see Warlord or Annihilating at this point, but something that you could definitely fill in like your faction trial champs or whatever in. But yeah, for the most part, I don't really use Whirlwind anymore. Same thing with this. You're always looking for your crit rate. Must have. Rager Gen's only going to be on Ancients. Other than that, attack speed's only going to be on Ancient chess piece. And then your weapons, you could almost always roll attack speed, crit rate, and that's what I'm looking for. You can go down to 2 and look for attack and crit rate only, because that's all you're really gonna find on the weapons. You're not gonna hit crit damage unless it's an ancient on the weapon, so there's always those rules as well. But yeah, a lot of talking. That's my filter list. Let me know if you guys have any questions or if there's any other filters I missed. But I think for the most part, I covered them all. There's like a few niche champions for sure that I just like. Kalina, she might get deleted. Like her gear is so hard to find as is. Most of the time, I'm not really looking for it, but for the most part, I think I got most of the champs covered. I'll post my code. This is on Forerunner currently, so I'm gonna once the patch goes live on the main server, I will make a new code there, and I will update my code in the section in the video. It'll be in the comments below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.